Spice did her thing, but me and my hubby are going to exit stage left because the last thing I want to do is run into Yandy. I don't want to be around no funky breath and no funky ass cheeks slapping together, smelling like BBL smell.
The night started with music and ended in pure chaos. What was supposed to be a high-energy concert from Spice quickly turned into a headline-making drama when Rasheeda Frost decided to make a bold exit and throw some serious shade while doing it. Fans were stunned as Rasheeda allegedly called out Yandy Smith-Harris, taking shots at her funky breath and even mocking her BBL. Yes, you heard that right. The insult was so personal, so explosive, it sent social media into a full meltdown. Overnight, the feud between these once close friends became the talk of the internet. Twitter, TikTok, and fan blogs lit up with debates, memes, and fiery opinions. Was Rasheeda just keeping it real or crossing a serious line? One thing's for sure, this isn't just drama, it's war. And everyone's watching to see who strikes next. The energy at the concert was electric. Fans packed the venue, waiting for Spice to hit the stage, and Atlanta's night air buzzed with excitement. This wasn't just another performance, it was a major moment for Spice. It's a celebration of music, culture, and her undeniable reign. Cameras were rolling, influencers were in the crowd, and several cast members from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta were in attendance. Among them was Rasheeda Frost, walking in with her signature confidence, hand in hand with Kirk Frost. She was dressed to the nines, smile camera ready, every step commanding attention. But beneath the flawless look, there was tension. It was no secret that things had been rocky between Rasheeda and Yandy Smith-Harris. What once was a solid friendship built on years of mutual support and loyalty had slowly started to crack. Whispers of betrayal, gossip behind the scenes, and heated confessional clips had made their way through the fan base over the past few weeks. Tonight was supposed to be a neutral ground, a concert, not a confrontation. But when real emotions mix with reality TV drama, neutral rarely stays that way. As Spice took the stage, the crowd erupted. The bass hit, lights flashed, and she delivered hit after hit with the kind of energy only she could bring. The vibe was pure celebration. But in the VIP section, Rasheeda's energy shifted the moment she spotted Yandy in the distance. According to onlookers, her smile faded. Her arms crossed. Kirk leaned in to whisper something in her ear. But Rasheeda's eyes were already locked on Yandy's section for months. Rumors had been swirling that Yandy was stirring up conversations about Rasheeda's loyalty, especially regarding the Jasmine Washington drama. Yandy had allegedly been vocal about how Rasheeda hadn't been there for her, even after she defended Rasheeda during her own public marriage scandals. To make things worse, there were claims that Yandy had been aligning herself with people Rasheeda didn't trust. And in a TL's tight entertainment scene, that's a betrayal that cuts deep. In confessionals from previous episodes, Rasheeda had made it clear she wasn't feeling Yandy anymore. She'd said, "We were never that close. I don't call her when I got problems with Kirk, so why should I get dragged into her mess?" Fans were already divided about the comment, with some seeing it as honest and others calling it cold. But tonight would turn quiet shade into a full-blown firestorm. Halfway through Spice's set, Rasheeda leaned closer to Kirk and said something that made him smirk, then nod. Within minutes, the couple got up and started making their way toward the exit. At first, no one thought much of it. People leave concerts early all the time. But Rasheeda didn't just leave. She made sure people heard why. Several people near the VIP section overheard her saying, "Me and my hubby are going to exit stage left because the last thing I want to do is run into Yandy. I don't want to be around no funky breath and no funky ass cheeks slapping together, smelling like BBL smell." Word spread through the venue like wildfire. Gasps, side eyes, and people grabbing their phones. Within seconds, tweets and Instagram stories started popping up. Clips of Rasheeda walking out, fans whispering, "Did you hear what she said?" It was everywhere. Backstage, Spice's team didn't even have time to process the shade before it was already trending. The crowd kept vibing, but among the cast members, everyone knew this was about to blow up. Rasheeda and Yandy's friendship wasn't just personal, it was televised. It had storylines, history, alliances, and a fan base invested in every move. Their bond went back years, and seeing Rasheeda so openly diss Yandy, not behind closed doors but at a public event, marked a point of no return. Meanwhile, Yandy was across the room, unaware at first. She was smiling, taking photos with fans, looking unbothered. But that peace didn't last. A producer reportedly whispered something to her team, and soon someone leaned over and told her what Rasheeda had said. Witnesses say Yandy's face fell instantly. She didn't storm out, she didn't yell. She just went quiet. Her friend group around her reacted instantly. A mix of outrage, relief, and that classic reality TV, it's about to go down energy. What made it worse is that this insult wasn't just about looks. BBL shade in the world of reality TV hits deep. It's personal. It's meant to embarrass, to make someone feel attacked in front of millions. And coming from someone who had once been in her corner, that cut deep. On social media, fans didn't hold back. Within an hour, hashtag RASHEEDA and hashtag YandyY were trending. One user tweeted, "I can't believe Rasheeda said that out loud at Spice's concert. ATL drama never sleeps." Another wrote, "BBL smell. She didn't have to go that far." In that moment, the concert stopped being about Spice's music and became about one woman walking out with a line that set off a reality TV bomb. Everyone knew the reunion episodes were going to be wild, but beyond the shade, this wasn't just about one nasty comment. It was years of tension, bruised egos, and unresolved loyalty questions bubbling to the surface. And Rasheeda didn't whisper her truth. She performed it, whether that was calculated for the cameras or pure emotion. It made sure the whole world was watching. Part 1 ends with Rasheeda exiting the venue, cameras catching every angle. Fans shouting questions, producers buzzing in their earpieces, and Yandy standing in the back, taking a deep breath, already knowing this night would change everything between them. Outside the concert venue, the air was thick with noise and flashing lights. The moment Rasheeda Frost stepped into the parking area, cameras swarmed. Reality TV crew members, gossip bloggers, and fans holding up their phones. Everyone wanted that reaction shot. But Rasheeda, ever the seasoned ATL queen, kept her face calm and her chin up. She wasn't backing down from the words she just unleashed inside. Kirk Frost followed close behind, hands in his pockets, clearly amused by the chaos surrounding them. One of the producers tried to pull her aside for a quick soundbite. "Rasheeda, why'd you leave early?" She gave a sly smirk, fixed her hair, and said, "I just don't like fake energy. I came to support Spice, not to deal with people I can't stand. And I don't want to breathe in no bad vibes or funky air." She didn't name Yandy Smith Harris directly, but she didn't need to. Everyone knew exactly who she was talking about. Word of what she said had already reached Yandy inside. She stood backstage now, away from the crowd, trying to keep her composure while the production crew whispered around her. Yandy had been through public drama before, from her marriage issues with Mendices, Harris to feuds with castmates in New York. But this cut was different. This wasn't some random enemy. This was someone she'd once considered a friend. Someone who had sat with her, cried with her, defended her in public. Now that same person had just turned one of her insecurities into a national punchline in her confessional later that night. Yandy's voice was steady but tight. "I'm not even mad about the concert," she said. "I'm mad because this woman has sat at my table. She's held my hand through things. And now she's out here talking about me like that? Like I'm the enemy. Nah, that's not just shade. That's a betrayal." Back in the parking lot, Rasheeda continued to talk to producers, feeding the moment like someone who knew exactly what buttons she was pressing. "Yandy ain't no saint," she said. "She loves to play victim, but she's been messy, real messy. I just finally said what everybody's been thinking." Kirk didn't say much, but every time Rasheeda threw another jab, he nodded like he agreed with every word. Fans and bloggers outside caught pieces of her conversation. And clips began going live on social media within minutes. Comments exploded in real time. She really said that. Rasheeda ate that up. Or was she wrong for this? Yandy better clap back ASAP. Meanwhile, Yandy's best friend was urging her to leave quietly. But Yandy wasn't the type to run from drama. She adjusted her outfit, fixed her hair, and told her crew, "We're not going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me break. But trust me, I'm not letting that slide." She stayed until the end of Spice's performance, smiling for cameras, hugging fans, even taking selfies like nothing was wrong. But inside, she was boiling. When the last note hit and the lights dimmed, Yandy walked toward her car with her team. She didn't have to say anything. The tension in the air around her said it all. The tension in the air around her said it all. Within hours, entertainment blogs like The Shade Room, Neighborhood Talk, and Urban Bell had posted side-by-side clips of Rasheeda walking out and Yandy looking stone-faced backstage. Captions like "BBL shade gone too far" and "ATL feud explodes" dominated the trending pages. Memes started rolling in, some mocking Yandy, others dragging Rasheeda for being petty. Twitter turned into a war zone between Team Rasheeda and Team Yandy. What made things even messier was their history. These two weren't random enemies. Their friendship went back years, starting when Yandy moved from New York to Atlanta and joined the cast full-time. They'd bonded over motherhood, business, and the challenges of being in the spotlight. Yandy had supported Rasheeda through the Kirk cheating scandal. Rasheeda had backed Yandy when people questioned her marriage's legality. They had built a sisterhood, or at least that's what it looked like on camera. But behind the scenes, little cracks had been forming. Yandy allegedly felt Rasheeda didn't have her back when the rumors about Mendeezy's cheating hit the blogs. And Rasheeda, on the other hand, thought Yandy inserted herself in drama that wasn't her business. It was a slow burn, the kind of tension that builds over time until one sharp comment sets it ablaze. That sharp comment happened tonight. And Rasheeda wasn't done later that night during a cast afterparty. Producers encouraged some of the cast to show up for extra coverage. Guess who walked in first? Rasheeda and Kirk. She strutted through the door like nothing had happened. If anything, she seemed more energized, like she knew she'd just created the moment of the season. She posed for a few selfies, laughed loudly at the bar, and talked to other castmates about the show. "Yandy can play nice all she wants," Rasheeda said to one of the girls, "but we all know she's fake." And I said what I said. The cameras caught everything. It wasn't just the shade anymore. It was intent. Rasheeda knew exactly what she was doing, and she was owning it. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was war. When Yandy eventually walked in, the entire energy in the room shifted. Conversations lowered. Heads turned. Even the DJ slowed the music for a second. The two women didn't speak at first. Yandy walked past Rasheeda without even looking her way. But everyone could feel the tension so heavy. It was practically humming through the air. In another confessional later, Rasheeda said, "I don't have time for fake people. She want to play innocent, but I know what's up. I'm just being real. If that makes me the villain, then fine. I'll wear that crown." Yandy's confessional was different. Softer, but colder. "I've been quiet for too long. People think they can say whatever about me, and I won't respond. But trust me, this is not over." The seeds of a full-on reality TV feud had been planted. Fans could already see what was coming. Public statements, Instagram lives, shady tweets, and a reunion show that would set the internet on fire. But the truth was, this wasn't just a storyline for ratings. This was personal. Years of loyalty, trust, and sisterhood had been shattered with one insult in a crowded room. Part 2 ends with the two women on opposite sides of the after-party. Rasheeda laughing loudly with Kirk and her friends. Yandy sitting quietly with hers, her jaw clenched, but her eyes sharp. The calm before the next storm. The next morning, Atlanta woke up buzzing. Blogs, fan pages, and mainstream gossip sites were all talking about one thing: Rasheeda Frost versus Yandy Smith Harris. What had started as a shady comment during Spice's concert had exploded overnight into a full-fledged social media circus. Hashtags like hashtag BBL Shade, hashtag RASHEEDAVs Yandy, and hashtag Love and Hip Hop ATL dominated trending lists. Twitter threads were breaking down the fight from every angle, with fans posting clips of Rasheeda's exit and Yandy's silent reaction. Like detectives solving a crime, Rasheeda's name was everywhere and she knew it. At her boutique, Pressed, she arrived early with Kirk, sipping her morning coffee with a smile that said she wasn't sorry. The producers followed her in, cameras already rolling. Her employees whispered behind the counter, but Rasheeda was calm. She loved when the city talked. To her, controversy wasn't just drama, it was power. She took off her sunglasses, looked straight into the confessional camera, and said, "Baby, let's be real. I didn't say anything people weren't already whispering about. I just said it louder." Meanwhile, across town, Yandy was sitting at her kitchen island, scrolling through her phone. Her notifications were blowing up. DMs from fans defending her, messages from friends asking if she was okay, blogs tagging her in every post. Her husband, Mendeces Harris, sat across from her, watching her face tighten with every swipe. "You gonna let her talk about you like that?" he asked, his tone low but firm. Yandy put her phone down slowly. "I'm not about to jump online and argue like a clown," she said. "But she's not about to paint me like I'm some joke either. This ain't middle school." Mendeces gave her that look, the one he gives when he knows she's trying to stay calm but her blood is boiling inside. "You don't gotta argue," he said. "Just remind people who you are." The producers set up in Yandy's living room not long after. In her confessional, she didn't yell. She didn't curse, but her tone carried weight. "Rasheeda can throw shade all she wants," she said, looking directly into the camera. "But let's not act like I ain't been solid. I've had her back more times than she's ever had mine. So if she want to turn this into a war, she'd better be ready for everything that comes with it." While Yandy was collecting herself, Rasheeda was going live on Instagram. She sat in her boutique chair, hair laid, makeup flawless, wearing a soft smile that was anything but innocent. Fans flooded the chat, some cheering her on, others dragging her for being disrespectful. "Look, I said what I said," Rasheeda told her viewers. "I don't do fake energy. If I don't like you, I don't smile in your face. And if I think something stinks, I'm gonna say it stinks. Period." The comment section lit up like fireworks. "Girl, you messy." She understood the assignment. "Yandy? Gonna eat you up in the reunion, not BBL smell again." Rasheeda smirked at the comments, clearly enjoying the chaos. She thrived on being the one who stirred the pot. But what she didn't realize yet was that this time, it wasn't just gossip. It was turning into something bigger. By noon, Yandy posted a photo on Instagram. No caption. Just her in full glam, flawless skin, a calm expression, and her hand on her hip. The picture alone sent a message. Unbothered, untouched, but it wasn't the photo itself that shook fans, it was the comments underneath. Celebrities and castmates started picking sides. Spice liked the post. Bambi Benson commented a few others left cryptic messages like "Real queens don't respond. They elevate." Rasheeda's fans clapped back, calling Yandy fake and accusing her of playing victim. Yandy's supporters reminded everyone of how loyal she had been through multiple cast feuds. The internet turned into a virtual battlefield. Behind the scenes, producers were loving it. Every blog post, every comment, every meme meant more eyes on the show. They began planning a cast dinner scene for the upcoming episode where both Rasheeda and Yandy would be present. If the concert night was the spark, this dinner was about to be the explosion. That evening, Rasheeda met up with Carly Red at a rooftop lounge. Carly, who had seen enough feuds to know when a storm was coming, didn't even waste time. "Girl, you know you done started something," she said, sipping her drink. Rasheeda laughed, leaning back. "Carly, please. Yandy needed to be humbled a long time ago. She walks around like she above everybody. I just reminded her she's not." Courtly gave her a sly look. "You know she not just gonna let this slide, right? Yandy's not the quiet type." Rasheeda flipped her hair. "Let her talk. She don't scare me." But across town, Yandy was having a very different kind of conversation. She sat with Spice and a few close friends at a quiet spot away from cameras, at least at first. Her voice was steady, but her jaw was clenched. "This woman stood by me during some of the hardest moments of my life," Yandy said. "And then she turns around and throws dirt on my name for a camera moment. That's not just shade. That's disrespect." Spice shook her head. "I don't know why she had to go that low. Like BBL smell. She really said that?" "She did," Yandy answered, her voice flat. "And she did it to embarrass me. But I don't embarrass easy." In that moment, Yandy's whole demeanor shifted. The calm, collected energy she had all day melted into something sharper. She wasn't going to post a rant or throw random shade. If she was going to respond, it would be calculated, smart. A move that would sting the producers. Sensing the perfect setup, filmed both women separately, capturing every expression, every subtle word. They knew exactly what they were building toward. A confrontation the audience would eat up. Meanwhile, fans online were already scripting the showdown themselves. "Reunion finna be fire," one tweet said. "Yandy, not gonna let this slide. Just wait." Another added, "Rasheeda better be ready." Yandy got that calm before the storm energy. By the time night fell, the city's gossip cycle had reached its peak. Influencers were making TikToks reenacting Rasheeda's quote. Twitter spaces were being hosted with titles like Team Yandy versus Team Rasheeda. Who's right? Even fan accounts were pulling old clips of their friendship, comparing how close they once were to the Cold War happening now. Part 3 ends with both women preparing in their own way for what's coming. Rasheeda basking in the spotlight, brushing off criticism like it's nothing. Yandy, quiet but simmering, her mind already moving 3 steps ahead. One was playing the villain, the other the strategist. And Atlanta was watching, waiting for the inevitable collision. The tension between Rasheeda Frost and Yandy Smith-Harris had shifted from whispers and social media posts to the real world. The producers wasted no time capitalizing on the storm. Within 48 hours, cast members were called for a group dinner at one of Atlanta's upscale rooftop restaurants. Cameras were already set, lights perfectly placed, and the entire cast knew exactly what they were walking into. This wasn't just dinner, this was a battlefield dressed in candles and champagne glasses. Rasheeda arrived first with Kirk Frost, her hair sleek, makeup flawless, and an attitude that screamed unbothered. She wore her confidence like armor. As she sat down, a producer asked her how she felt about the online backlash. She smirked and said, "Baby, I said what I said. If people mad about the truth, that's on them." Kirk leaned back in his chair, clearly not interested in picking sides, but fully prepared to back his wife if things got ugly, one by one. Other cast members arrived: Carly, Red, Bambi, Benson, Spice, and others. The chatter was light at first, but it was the kind of light that floats above thick, heavy tension. Everyone was waiting for Yandy. They all knew when she walked through that door, the entire mood would change. When Yandy finally arrived, heads turned. She wasn't dressed to blend in. She was dressed to make a point. A bold outfit, sleek hair, .com walk, the kind of look that says, "I didn't come to play games." As soon as she took her seat, the quiet buzz in the room turned into a low hum of nervous energy. Even Carly, who usually lived for this kind of mess, sat a little straighter in her chair. The conversation started off civil. Spice talked about the concert and how amazing it felt to perform. Rasheeda nodded politely, sipping her drink, acting like nothing happened. Yandy let her speak but didn't break eye contact with Rasheeda once. She didn't need to say a word yet. Her silence was loud enough. Finally, Carly, being the self-appointed truth instigator, broke the ice. "So, are we going to talk about the BBL comment? Or are we just going to act like that didn't shake the whole internet?" A few people chuckled nervously. Rasheeda tilted her head, a small smile creeping onto her lips. "Carly, you always love stirring the pot, don't you?" Carly shrugged. "I mean, the pot's already stirred, sis. You, just the one who threw the seasoning." Yandy leaned forward slightly, her voice calm but firm. "No, let's talk about it. Since everybody wants to act like it's not out there. You stood in a room full of people at Spice's concert and said some real disrespectful stuff about me. Not in private. Not behind my back quietly. You made sure the world heard it. Rasheeda leaned back, unfazed. And that single word landed like a punch. Everyone shifted in their seats. It wasn't just the word itself, it was the way she said it. Cold, dismissive. Like Yandy's feelings meant nothing. Yandy kept her composure. And that was foul, Rasheeda. I stood by you when people dragged your marriage. I defended you when folks called Kirk everything under the sun. I've had your back even when I didn't agree with your choices. And this is how you move. Rasheeda's smile faded slightly, replaced by a sharp look. Let's not act like you a saint, Yandy. You love acting like the world revolves around you. Like everybody gotta bow down because you came from New York with all your boss energy. I got tired of pretending everything you do is perfect. Carly covered her mouth. Spice leaned in closer. The rest of the cast went dead silent. Yandy blinked slowly, absorbing every word. That's what this is really about, huh? You've been jealous of me since the day I walked in here. Jealous? Rasheeda let out a small laugh, shaking her head. Jealous of what? Of someone who got more drama than sense. Please. Yandy tilted her head. You can spin it however you want. But the truth is, you felt threatened the moment people started giving me the same respect they gave you. And instead of dealing with it, you tried to embarrass me in front of the whole city. Rasheeda leaned in slightly now, her voice lower but edged with heat. I didn't have to embarrass you, Yandy. You do a good job of that on your own. That line hit hard. Mendices shifted in his seat, ready to speak. But Yandy raised a hand to stop him. She wasn't done. You think this is a game, Yandy said. But let me tell you something. You picked the wrong one to play with. I don't need to scream. I don't need to throw drinks. I handle things differently. You wanted a moment, Rasheeda. Congratulations. You've got it? The room felt like it was holding its breath. Rasheeda stared back at her, unflinching. It was clear neither woman was backing down. Spice finally broke the silence, raising her hands. Y'all, not at my concert aftermath, please. I love both of y'all, but this is getting ugly. Rasheeda turned to Spice. Spice, I love you, but I'm not about to sit here and pretend. I said what I felt. If people can't handle honesty, that's on them, Yandy scoffed, shaking her head. Honesty. No, baby. That wasn't honesty. That was petty mean girl energy. That was low. And honestly, you should be embarrassed. The table shifted as tension thickened. Carly whispered, this reunion gonna be crazy. Rasheeda set her drink down a little too hard. Yandy, I'm not embarrassed. Not even a little bit. I don't like you. I don't respect you. And I don't have to smile in your face anymore. The room erupted with a mix of gasps and shocked faces. It wasn't just shade now, Rasheeda had said it plain. Yandy sat still for a moment, then slowly smiled. Good, because I'd rather know exactly who I'm dealing with than waste another second around fake energy. As the dinner wrapped up, the tension lingered like smoke after a fire. Yandy stood up first, fixing her dress like the conversation hadn't just scorched the table. Rasheeda stayed seated, but her eyes followed Yandy the whole way out. She didn't say another word. She didn't have to. Outside, the night air was thick and warm. Yandy walked to her car with Mendices beside her. She wasn't crying. She wasn't even shaking. She was locked in. If Rasheeda thought this was over, she was wrong. This wasn't just a feud anymore. It was a war with real history and real stakes. Inside, Rasheeda finally exhaled. She wasn't sorry. If anything, she felt lighter. Like she'd been holding this grudge for a long time and finally said it out loud. But what she didn't know was that Yandy wasn't going to let this moment be the last word. Part 4 ends with both women walking away from the dinner, not reconciled, but standing their ground, lines clearly drawn. This wasn't the calm before the storm anymore. This was the storm. And everyone around them knew the next round would be even bigger. The dinner confrontation between Rasheeda Frost and Yandy. Smith Harris had been like lighting a match in a room full of gasoline. By the next morning, the explosion had reached full force online. Social media was no longer just buzzing, it was in chaos. Fan accounts were replaying every clip of their face-off, analyzing facial expressions, body language, and tone like courtroom evidence. One video of Rasheeda saying, "I don't like you, I don't respect you, and I don't have to smile in your face anymore," had already racked up millions of views on TikTok. Lone, but away from the cameras and the noise. Both women were processing that night very differently at home. Rasheeda sat in her glam room, brushing her hair back as the crew set up. Her posture was strong, her tone steady. She didn't regret a single word. "Look," she said in her confessional, "sometimes people need to hear the truth. I've been biting my tongue for years with Yandy. I've watched her walk around here like she the queen of ATL. Like she can talk down to people and smile in their face. I got tired of that. And if me telling the truth makes me the villain, so be it. Telling the truth makes me the villain, so be it." She looked straight into the camera, her voice growing sharper. "I'm not scared of Yandy, and I'm not backing down." Kirk, sitting off to the side, didn't interfere. He'd seen Rasheeda go through public battles before. He knew once she made up her mind, nothing could shake her. Across town, Yandy was sitting with Mendices Harris in their backyard, trying to keep her emotions contained. She'd built her reputation on staying poised even when others tried to tear her down. But the words Rasheeda said last night replayed in her mind like a bad song stuck on repeat. She could shrug off shade from most people. But coming from Rasheeda, someone who had once called her a friend, stung in a way she didn't want to admit out loud. "I've defended her so many times," Yandy said softly, staring into her teacup. "When people dragged her marriage, I was there. When people said she was fake, I was there. I stood by her. And she turns around and tries to humiliate me. At Spice's concert. In front of the whole damn city." Mendices leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. "You can't let her win by reacting emotional. You've got too much to lose." Yandy nodded slowly. She wasn't going to give Rasheeda the satisfaction of seeing her break down. But she also wasn't going to let this slide. "She want to play villain," Yandy said quietly. "Then I'll show her what happens when you step into a ring with me." Meanwhile, the internet was only adding fuel to the fire. Fans on both sides were picking apart every little detail. Team Rasheeda praised her for keeping it real and, finally saying what people were scared to. Say Team Yandy slammed her for being messy, jealous, and bitter. Meme. Pages had turned the BBL smell line into a viral joke, which only made the situation worse. Even castmates were starting to get pulled in. Spice had posted a cryptic Instagram story with the words "Atlanta too hot right now." And fans immediately assumed it was about the fight. Carly Red went live and danced around picking a side but kept repeating, "It's about to get real next week," with a knowing grin. Bambi simply posted a popcorn emoji. Producers were already planning the next on-camera moment, a sit-down between Rasheeda and Yandy. Not in a group. Not with distractions, just the two of them face to face. Back at her store at Oz Tour, Rasheeda received the news about the planned sit-down. She laughed. "Bring it," she said. "If she thinks you're going to check me, she'd better bring facts, not feelings." Yandy, when told about the same meeting, simply nodded. "Good. It's time I say my piece." The day of the sit-down arrived. It was set in a quiet lounge away from the public eye, dim lighting, leather couches, and just 2 glasses of water placed on the table. No crowd, no Carly stirring. No Spice trying to mediate. Just Rasheeda and Yandy, both dressed like they came to handle business. Rasheeda walked in first, calm, collected, and carrying the same energy she had at dinner. Yandy arrived a few minutes later, eyes sharp but composed. The air between them was heavy before they even spoke. "Let's just get to it," Yandy said, sitting down. "Why'd you say that?" Rasheeda tilted her head. "Because I felt like it. Because it's the truth. I don't like fake people." Yandy leaned forward slightly. "Fake me? Girl, if I was fake, I wouldn't have had your back when the whole world was clowning. Kirk, I wouldn't have defended you when people said your marriage was a joke. You call that fake? You were defending me for TV. Rasheeda shot back. Not because you cared. You love looking like the hero. Like the one who saves the day. Yandy's jaw clenched. I defended you because I thought you were my friend. Rasheeda crossed her legs, voice colder now. Well, maybe that was your first mistake. The silence that followed was louder than anything they could have said. Yandy inhaled slowly. You know what hurts the most? It's not the BBL joke. It's that you stood next to me for years and still chose to tear me down in the ugliest way possible. You didn't just shade me, Rasheeda. You disrespected me. Rasheeda didn't flinch. You disrespected me a long time ago, acting like you run things. Acting like your life is perfect and everybody else just playing catch-up. That's not disrespect, Yandy fired back. That's your insecurity. For the first time, Rasheeda's expression shifted just slightly, enough for the cameras to catch it. Yandy leaned closer now, her tone lower but powerful. You want to know the real difference between me and you? I don't tear other women down to make myself feel strong. I build my power. You shade to hide yours. That hit Rasheeda where it hurt, even if she didn't show it fully. She adjusted her posture, straightened her hair, and said flatly, I'm not hiding nothing. I just don't like you. Yandy nodded slowly. Good, because now we're finally being real. The sit-down ended without hugs, without a fake makeup scene. It ended with both women standing their ground, their feud cemented in stone. The producers didn't need explosive drinks or screaming. The silence, the looks, and the cutting honesty were more powerful than any thrown glass. Later that night, both women posted on Instagram. Rasheeda wrote, I don't do fake. Never did, never will. Hashtag real talk. Hashtag IDONT. Regret it. Yandy posted, you don't have to scream when the truth already speaks loud enough. Hashtag unbothered. Hashtag standing tall. Within minutes, both posts went viral. The comment sections looked like battlegrounds. Fans, celebs, and even fellow castmates were picking sides. It was no longer just a moment. It was the storyline of the season. Part 5 ends. It's both women walking away from their sit-down, more divided than ever. No resolution, no apology, no reconciliation, just two powerful women who once stood together, now standing firmly on opposite sides. Their feud wasn't just another reality TV clash. It had history. It had teeth. And it was far from over. The only question now was who would strike next, and how far they'd be willing to go. And just like that, a friendship that once looked unbreakable turned into one of the messiest feuds in love and hip-hop Atlanta history. Rasheeda Frost and Yandy Smith-Harris didn't just exchange petty shade. They ripped the mask off and let the world see the real tension that had been brewing behind closed doors for years. This wasn't just a one-episode drama. This was personal. The walkout at Spice's concert, the infamous BBL smell comment, the explosive dinner confrontation, and that icy sit-down showed us exactly why their feud has fans glued to every update. These two aren't just castmates, they're power players. And when power players clash, the shockwaves hit every corner of the show. Social media has already chosen sides. Team Yandy calls Rasheeda bitter and jealous, while Team Rasheeda claims Yandy acts like she runs ATL. But the truth is, both women know how to play the game, and this game isn't over. Not even close. The reunion is right around the corner, and if the last few episodes have been any clue, we're in for a showdown that's going to shake the season to its core. No filters. No fakeness. Just raw, unfiltered drama the way ATL does it best. So if you're living for the chaos, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications because when Yandy and Rasheeda face off again, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be legendary. Hashtag Love and Hip Hop ATL.